Hello and welcome to the Billion Dollar Broker Podcast. My name is Ross Lacane. I'm bringing my 25 years industry experience together with leading experts around the globe to give you the insights on how to live a better life and grow a profitable mortgage broking business that you are proud of. Welcome to another episode of the Billion Dollar Broker Podcast. My name is Ross Lacane, but a special guest, a Kiwi this time, but a Kiwi based in the Gold Coast, Oliver Grant. He's the director of Stones Throw Finance. He's been there 5 years, but you've had many experiences, Ollie. You're obviously one of AFG's top brokerages, but just start by one, introducing yourself, and two, telling us a bit about your history within finance.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I obviously grew up in New Zealand and always kind of wanted to leave, to be honest. So yeah, I graduated uni and came over here. I thought stockbroking was my passion, and I did that for a short period of time, and then got into banking. So I was in banking for nearly 10 years, various different banks, and then I finished up at NAB and was in the broker side of that business. I really, I guess some different things happened in my life. Had a young child and didn't want to travel as much, and so went out on my own about 5 years ago, and have gone from, I guess, just a sole one-man band to a few of us now, and really enjoying it, I guess.
Beautiful. So with those years that you spent in terms of the 13 years in terms of the finance, and then obviously you worked in the broker space within NAB, which you mentioned was your last roles. What were some of the things that you picked up within those roles that you think really helped you? Because obviously you've been successful because you've only been a broker for 5 years and you're already scaled and got quite a team behind you. What were some of the things that you picked up from those days that you think has helped you in your broker business?
Yeah, especially my NAB role, I looked after a large volume of business. So I was used to having, 100, 200 deals on the kind of go at the same time. I mean, obviously I had bankers helping me, but I think that really has helped me take that into broking and have, lots and lots of different deals at the same time to ensure that, we've always got business and we've always kind of working on enough volume to keep everyone busy. And in terms, hand in hand with that, I guess, is just that I saw so many different scenarios. So, that's really helped me in the broking space where I can go, oh yeah, I saw this, something similar to this 5 years ago, 10 years ago, we did this or we did that. And just different structures and different ways to, I guess, help, especially small business. I've worked in small business for a long time, so I feel that part of the market isn't as well looked after maybe directly by banks, and so brokers really need to step up and kind of run with that. And we are small business, so we should understand it, and so really be a kind of a support person, and even sometimes just be a listening board for that small business owner. Sometimes it's kind of quite lonely as a small business owner. You don't really have, many people. You can't talk to your staff about certain challenges. And so, I guess that's something that I really took from my NAB days and small business to broking, is to just actually, be that sounding board, be that advice piece or that listening for different small business owners. So
I love that. I think there's a bit in there that we can sort of unpack in terms of the opportunity for brokers, in terms of if you look at that SME business type, it's the same size as the resi market, right? But the banks are still dominating the volume percentage that's been done, right? Where the broker share in the resi markets, getting up there close to, 50% or whatever it is at the moment, but we're nowhere near that space in small business. Banks are still dominating that, but as you say, they're not doing as good a job as what they can be done. So there's a massive opportunity for brokers within that small business space, isn't there?
Oh, definitely. I feel like, and banks have, try and improve it, but I feel like that internally in banks, small businesses seen as a stepping stone. So you often get your either for new bankers or residential bankers that let's have a, dip our toe in the commercial markets. They become a small business banker. And as soon as they kind of start actually getting to a point where they can truly help small businesses in terms of their knowledge and ability, then they get moved on to maybe larger business transactions. And so it's a bit of a, kind of revolving door in terms of internally in the bank. So that's really where I see so many small businesses just come unstuck in terms of they go to their local branch or they go to their local bank, and the person they're speaking to maybe hasn't had the experience in terms of their financials or structures or cash flows or whatever. And so they don't really get that service. They're not seen as an important enough customer maybe to be dealt with a more experienced person in the bank. And so yeah, there's definitely that quite large hole where we need to fill. We should understand, like I said before, we should understand small business better than most. We are a small business. We should understand cash flow. We have cash flow challenges like any other small business. So we should be able to resonate with them and just help them on that journey and be that, obviously conduit between the small business owner and the bank that's going to talk in their bank spiel and ask for, quite often things that can't be produced. I want this and that, and I want 2 years of perfect history and mold what the bank needs and what the customer can provide and be that middle person. Yeah.
Love it. I love it. And I think that's, we were talking earlier and I asked you where the name Stone's Throw business finance came from. And, do you want to, you gave me the explanation, but tell the listeners in terms of, how you came up with that name, because I think that's fitting at this point in terms of what you're saying about understanding the self-employed customer and all their needs that they've got.
Yeah, also I guess Stone's Throw in its core is literally that, throwing a stone in a lake or in the water, where the stone is the product, is the home loan, is the business loan, is the equipment finance, which is important, of course. It causes the ripple effect, but it's understanding that ripple effect. So we'll give you the product to allow you to buy a business, to grow your business, to buy a house, to expand your family, and it's that journey. And I guess understanding that journey and helping that customer map out that journey, that's really important for me. I don't want a customer for a week. I want one for their life, so I want to be able to help them on that journey and kind of plan for different things. And so, yeah, that's where the name, I guess, came from.
Yeah, beautiful. And I love that in terms of the other thing that I wanted to pick up in terms of what you said before is being that sounding board, being that person that can really understand everything that they're going through, because it is lonely as a small business person. And obviously, the challenges of getting finance. I mean, we look at the challenges of a self-employed person getting finance. So one, it's around, actually getting them to the point where they're finance ready, right? Where they've actually got the right information so they can apply for a loan in terms of the financials and everything that they need to be in order. And obviously even the way that they run their accounts, right? In terms of, I used to say when I focused on property investment that you can't run a wealth creation and a tax minimization strategy at the same time, right? And it's sort of getting their heads around, okay, well, if I do it and present my accounts in a way which is going to maximize the wealth that I can create, it's a lot more than the tax that I can save, right? So that's just one example. So, about being finance ready, but as you mentioned, then understanding all of those ripples that come from that around, cash flow, around, so the difference whether they finance something or whether they pay cash for it, right? And being understand what that means and being able to sort of speak in their language. What do you think some of the other skills that to really service this market has set you apart? Obviously, you've grown, and as you mentioned, it was a lot of word of mouth. So what do you think some of those key skills that you need to be good in this space?
Yeah, I mean, I think, generally speaking, to be good as a broker or a business person, you need to be confident. So you need to be able to go into a situation and understand what you're good at and be able to, pass on that knowledge. But at the same time, I think it's really important in the small business space, especially, to not make emotional decisions or immediate decisions. So look at the long goal, the amount of, I guess, free advice that I give, knowing that it's going to come back in years to come. So a perfect example, last year, April last year, my phone rang hot with customers, small business customers, freaking out about COVID. What do I do? What do I do with my staff? And of course, I'm not a HR expert. But I'm helping them through that journey. Of course, they're not, hey, I've bought a property, Ollie, I need a loan right now, but it's giving that advice and being that. So as soon as I think, okay, I need money, or I need to just discuss money, or I need to discuss my business, I call Ollie. And then, those conversations and those relationships and that long-term thinking, okay, let's do the right thing for the customer and for my business for the long term, instead of, let's just try and get everything that's on the table now, looking through their financials. Hey, how do you finance how do you pay for your insurance? Oh, I just had this massive bill once a year and I pay it. Hey, have you thought about insurance premium funding? How you've got some assets on here that are getting old. What do you do with them? Oh yeah, well, my accountant tells me to go buy something, so I rush down to the yard and I get the finance at the yard. All those things, that long goal to work hand in hand with them to make sure that of course you can't foresee everything, but just to make that journey a bit more seamless than so reactive, which it would be in, say, the direct bank situation where they're going to rush down there when they've got an issue and they need money now, or they need a temporary overdraft, trying to help them work towards that together.
Yeah, beautiful. And one of the reasons that I loved the property investment space, and that was my niche when I finished up, because these guys would have multiple transactions, right? Rather than your first home buyer or you just standard owner occupied buyer that may transact once every 4 or 5 years, whereas your small to medium enterprise, they have so many other different needs, right? So in terms of, name some of the areas that you're able to help these guys, right? So they might come to you for a home loan first, then what else can you help them with?
Yeah, that's I guess our niche is we do everything. Is equipment finance, it's insurance premium funding. It's, hey, have you thought about buying commercial property? Oh, I don't think it's possible. Well, let's see if it is. Oh, I need a huge deposit. Well, no, you don't. Banks have changed. Or it's invoice financing. It's everything and it's not to say that they don't have those products already. And some people think that they don't actually have the product, in terms that they do. It's just being done, I guess, at a reactive level, so they're paying accordingly. Coming to us, I guess, just wraps that up and has that one-stop kind of shop. I need money, or how do I run my business more effectively in terms of financing, and they come to us.
Yeah, beautiful. And that's the thing for brokers. It means you can have a smaller base of clients, but people that know you, like you, and trust you. And it means that you'll do more transactions with a smaller group of clients, which is obviously easier to manage and quite fruitful. So in terms of we've spoken about the benefits and working with these SMEs. In terms of you mentioned to me, so you haven't had a website and a lot of your business
very limited,
a lot of your business just came from word of mouth referrals. So what has been the reason around that? So why do you think you get so much business through referral?
One, I mean, it sounds obviously very simple, but we ask for it. And secondly, if you ask for business, be appreciative and jump on it if you do get it. So, can help out your friends and family when they obviously contact you. Be excited, be thankful. And secondly, I guess back to what we've been already speaking about, is that I'm not we're not a product comparer. We're not going to be, well, hopefully, technology is not going to negatively affect us as much. So we don't just compare, hey, here's 3 different loans, where, hey, people ring us up and say, hey, I need to do this, or what do I do here? So I think that those couple of points have really helped us.
Beautiful. In terms of asking for referrals, so you said that you do that. So at what points within the process would you ask for a referral? Is it in your process that you ask at this stage, or is it just you pick your moments?
Yeah, I think my whole approach is quite relaxed, and we just constantly ask. I mean, whether it's the first meeting, because again, I don't want to, and back to the stone's throw thing, as we spend the majority of the time talking about, what's your goals, what's your objectives, what are you doing? And so, you'll see that light bulb moment go, and you go, yeah, so if there's someone else that could help us, yeah, I've got this thing. And so often someone will have a first appointment or a first phone call, and then you'll get a referral before that first customer's even sent you the information. Just because I spend the time and I get the passion and enjoyment from talking about the property or the other parts aside from just the core, this is your finance product and this is the rate and fees, that we get a lot of, like I said, we get a lot of referrals before the customer one has sent us any information, because they've had that, that sit down and like, a lot of people that haven't used a broker before or haven't gone to a bank in a while, they come in nervous. They're like, I'm coming in to see this guy in a suit and I'm worried about what he's going to say. And hopefully, they leave here relaxed, excited. That was refreshing. And then that's to be honest, probably when we get most of our referrals, is that once those walls have kind of been broken down and that stigma of that they can openly talk to us about anything, that's when we get a lot of, we get the second and the third and the fourth kind of person.
Beautiful. I love that. And it's a lesson around focusing on the relationship ahead of the transaction, right? In terms of, and I say it over and over again, and the guests that I have on this podcast are the elite in the industry, and 99% of them focus on the relationship. Your average broker that I see, it says, all right, focus on, give me what I need to complete the transaction, right? And they're sort of focused the wrong way. They become very transactional in their mindset, and it affects their business and affects their business growth and the referrals that they get. So I love that. And, I can see exactly why, you've been able to grow and scale your business so quickly through word of mouth referrals, is because, again, it's about focusing on the relationship, right? Focusing on the relationship. And in terms of, focusing on the relationship, one of the other things is about, well, who else does that client need to have the best, chance of achieving their bigger picture, right? Because you're focused not just on the small picture, you're focused on the bigger picture. And so in terms of who else do you sort of surround yourself in your network?
Yeah, so I've got some really good solicitor legal firms that I use. So obviously we send them transactions in terms of conveyancing, but they're also that sounding board for me. Hey, we get some quite more complex, I guess, situations, and so I can ring them up and get their opinion on something. Of course, the customer's going to need to directly speak to their own legal expert, but at least you can. If I don't know, I'll go and find out. That's one of my things. Like, so we've got the lawyer, we've got the accountant. Again, with accounting, I've got an accounting background, but there's a lot of things that I don't know, or structures, and so it's, again, I always, there's always that clause in there, hey, go and seek your own independent advice. But this is my thoughts on this, and this is my opinion, and that's where I think people want, they want to be able to, they don't want to leave the situation or leave the discussion with me with more questions than they came with. Okay, Ollie spoke about this and that, and who do I go see for that, or what do I do about that, or I've got no idea, and freak out, and it all comes too hard. So I think surrounding ourselves and that's where I can create value to my network, as well as I can be the finance expert. So we don't exchange any fees or any financial thing, but we exchange knowledge. We have mutual beliefs with customer experience. We have mutual beliefs with communication and getting back to people quickly. So we make sure that if I send them a customer, I know that my customer's going to be treated, same as I would treat them, and vice versa. And that network definitely wasn't something that I took lightly, or it grew exceptionally fast when I first started, because I wasn't going to refer a customer to someone that I didn't know. So it has taken years and multiple transactions with those various people. But I think it is, I've got some good commercial real estate agents as well that I discuss properties with, because we do a fair bit in that small commercial space as well. So just keeping my finger on the pulse in terms of square meterage rates or rental yields or zoning issues of town planners. And again, I don't claim or want to be the absolute expert at everything, but I want to know enough that I can point someone in the right direction with some kind of authority and thought, to get them, again, for them to have the best experience. I don't want them walking into somewhere completely uneducated or scared, scared to talk to a lawyer or scared to talk to their accountant.
Yeah, and I think this comes down to the part, and quite often I talk about, brokers focusing on a niche, and you're obviously focused on that small to medium enterprise that aren't serviced particularly well with the bank. So do you break it down to a turnover that you focus on?
Not really, and we don't discriminate. So there's not customers that I'll turn away because they don't fit my niche, but we've got everyone from sole traders, one-man bands, up to I've got a customer that has nearly 1,000 staff. So, but it's all that same reason that they deal with us. We understand their financials. We understand the challenges as a business. We talk to them like a human. We discuss everything, not just what's your income, what have you got, what deposit have you got? Okay, you can get 2%. It's, have you thought about doing it this way or that way? And yeah, often my customers will ring me for nothing else than just to get something off their chest because they can't speak to their own staff about it. And I think, like we've spoken about, earlier on, is that relationship base. So I guess back to your question is in terms of I don't particularly do a lot of first home buyers, or I don't particularly do a lot of that high-end corporate or high-end property development, multi-story things. It is probably in that trading businesses, I guess from any size really to any size, but that's where we specialize as, I guess, trading businesses really.
Yeah. So I love it. And in terms of, going back to the network and, the reason, once you've understand that, okay, that's my niche, I understand who I need in my network to be able to best service these. And I need to obviously educate myself enough. So I understand commercial real estate. I understand obviously cash flows. I understand financials. I understand the complex structures that clients can have, whether that be, a family trust, whether that be a self-managed super fund, whether that be a unit trust, or, all the different structures that they can own property in. So you need to understand those things. And then you said from the legal side of things, to be able to then build the relationships to refer out. So how did you, go about finding the right people? Because, I speak to brokers, and I was even speaking to a broker today. Even though he's been in the industry for a while, he didn't have any referral partners. He didn't have any people in his network. So how did you go about building these relationships with these, other professionals in your network?
Oh, it's all back to, you don't want to force something. I personally don't believe in, okay, I've started a business today, let's go door knock or let's letterbox drop. So if I'm speaking to a customer's accountant, and we have, we get on, or we, and on the accounting side, most of the time we speak to accounts and they go, hey, you actually understand this. And so, you build on that. And the same with the legal side and the property side. It's through existing transactions. And like we spoke about earlier on, about situations, or, hey, I want to buy this property. And so, yes, I might have to pay some more tax this year, or I might have to, do something different next year to get it. But talk to your accountant about that. There, potentially there's an option here. Discuss that with them. And again, they, so yeah, I guess the short answer is I've got those referral partners from my customers. So I get on with my customers and I track to certain customers, and because all our customers are word of mouth. They're not all the same by any means, but they all have some kind of core beliefs or core, ethics, I guess. And so, people deal with like-minded people. So if I've got some great customers and they believe they have a great accountant, I'll probably get on really well with that accountant. Likewise with their lawyer, likewise with their property guy. So that's how I've got the relationships, and it has been a slow burn. It wasn't I didn't start and I had, 3 or 4 or 5 in the first 6 months, 12 months. It's been built over time. And the guy I do most of my legal stuff with, it's only been probably in the last year. So what did I do for the first 4? I didn't have a strong relationship. So, I found one.
Yeah, and I can say the same in mine, right? And I think there's 2 ways, and I teach it to my guys in my program when I'm talking about referrals. There's 2 ways that you can, get warm introductions. One, it's through, the transaction, as you mentioned. There's lots of people that we just naturally come across through the transaction, whether they be their account, their real estate agent, their conveyancer, their solicitor, so forth. Or 2, it's a warm introduction from like-minded people, right? In terms of, in the same way that you said you asked for referrals, hey, I love your account and I love the work you did. Obviously he's good at what he does because I can see the way he presents his account. Oh yeah, he's great. All right, would you mind introducing me? And that's a way that obviously, you can, yourself and other brokers can get good people within your network, is through, and as you said, like attracts like, right? It's like attracts like, and a great way to go and sort of build your network. So this has allowed you to obviously to scale your team and to grow pretty quickly. So how important is it to you to sort of have those team members on board? And what have you done to sort of, grow your team? And what are some of the challenges you've had in growing your team?
Yeah, it's super important. I mean, I get back to why, one of the reasons I started broking in the first place was I felt myself at the bank. I was too far removed from the customer. So, as you scale or as you do more transactions, I want to make sure that I have the time to sit down with my customers, that I'm not having a customer appointment and I'm looking at my watch. Oh, I've got to get back to my computer because I've got 1,000 emails to do, or I've got finance calls due. So having staff allows me to have more times with my customers, to have those longer, true conversations. So that's, the reason that we've gone there. And to be honest, when I first started, if you'd asked me in the first 3 months, hey, Ollie, will you have any staff? I would have flatly said, no way. It'll be me and me only. So why? Because I've got my wife's got another business and we have staff there, and there is some challenges. Obviously it's very hard in the service-based business as broking is, to replicate your service, to replicate yourself amongst many. So that's a challenge. But in saying that, I hire people on personality and on work ethic. You can teach anyone, a lot of people, how to do the core part of a lot of broking, but it's, do they have the right work ethic? Do they have the right personality? Are they excited to come to work? Do they want to work hard? Do they have those same, key kind of ethics that I do to run my team? So that's, I think, a key reason to why I hire staff. And in that same breath, if someone comes into my life or whatever, that I think that person will be a great staff member, I would hire them and then figure out what they do, or figure out the workload for them, instead of going, okay, now I'm under the pump, I need to put a job ad out and get 100 people apply. I think that's really important. Is if you come across someone and you think that person would be brilliant in my business and they're available, take them.
Yeah, beautiful.
Figure out the rest later.
Exactly. I love that. So hire for attitude, train for skills. And you run obviously a technical back end, right? So to understand your transactions is going to be a lot, more complex than you sort of your mum and dad 2 pay slips type person. So what have you found has been important? And again, you said, not always you get someone with the skills. So what have you found has been most important, because you do have some complex transactions, to be able to free you up? How do you sort of onboard them properly and get them sort of up to speed so they're able to handle that sort of complex stuff?
Yeah. Again, it's the attitude piece. If you've got people that want to learn and want to ask why, like you said, we're not a cookie cutter, 2 pay slips, etc. It's, why does it say that on the financials? Why does that do that? Why does it do this? Why? And yes, it's a long burn. For sure, there's going to be a long period of time, and it's, I guess, It takes a lot longer to get them to the point where they don't have to ask me as many questions in a day. But I feel like if you hire the right people with the right attitude and want to know why, that's absolute key. And those real technical parts. I mean, I personally believe that broking, or a lot of business, is a big portion of it you can learn very quickly, and a very small portion of it you can either take a long time to learn or never learn. So if and I think broking is a perfect example of that. If you can get people doing that, that real heavy lifting part, the data entry, the getting the facts, the getting the and then we can, the part that's really the 10, 15 years experience is quite quick. If you can get the rest, and again, if you can get staff that want to learn and want to get better and want to improve, one, it keeps the job interesting. It's not just repeat. And secondly, it keeps it, I guess it keeps it interesting for us. And yeah, those little bits up here, or that small period of time, I've got the time to do that. I've got the time.
I love it. And, it's the old 80-20 rule, isn't it? You're saying 80% of the stuff I can train them with and they can be really good. And 20% of the stuff, hey, I might need to get involved, or I might need to give a little bit more clearer direction with those parts of it. But I'm okay with that, right? And there's a saying, when you actually delegate something, if you can expect someone to do it 80% as well as you can, then that's enough, right? That's enough. And chances are your client may not know the difference, right? The other quote I love is, if they can do it 80% and they can do it completely, it's 100% freaking awesome, right? Because you don't have to do it, and it frees you up to do the things you love. And obviously, what you love, Ollie, is sort of being that, building that relationship with clients and, creating that ripple effect. Have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? Which is obviously, kept you in good stead. So love it. Love it. I'm going to wrap things up there. I ask all the guests on the podcast to give a tip in terms of, so if you're looking, and again, you're only sort of 5 years into your broking journey whilst you've been in the game for 13 years. So if you're to give one piece of advice for a broker that's coming in, that's looking to grow and scale to be a top brokerage like yourself, what would that sort of one piece of advice be?
I think, for me and for that example, or for any example, is business development in your busiest time. I think the thing that so many brokers or so many people coming into the space is obviously that go out and get heaps of volume, or try and get heaps of deals. I'm really busy, put my head in the sand. Don't contact me. And then of course it's like this, so either on your absolute busiest days, or those things we've got, all these deadlines to meet, you still need to focus on your business development, however that is. For me, it's talking to people, it's picking up the phone. For other people, it might be a different way of getting it. But I think, business development, day in, day out, speaking to customers, and no matter how busy you are, and remembering why you did it in the first place.
Yeah, love it. And I love that final point, remembering why you did it in the first place. Remember why you got in your business. Remember what that bigger purpose is behind, what you're doing. But I love what you're saying around the peaks and the troughs. And I see that so much, right? Brokers get so busy doing the deal, and they go, oh crap, where's my next deal going to come from? And then, so it actually creates that, and doesn't create that consistency in their business. So Ollie, it's been a pleasure. So much gold there in terms of really appreciate you spending the time to give so much advice to the listeners that we've got. I think there's a lot. I think, in terms of, that small business market, focusing on referrals, focusing on your network, building the team, finding the right people with the right attitudes. And as you said then, in terms of focus on the dollar productive activities and focusing on the sales, to leave it, there's Yeah, there's a reason that sales is at the top of the P&Ls, isn't it? Right? Is because it's the thing that we need to focus on. And, we're in business just like Ollie deals with a lot of self-employed clients. We are self-employed ourselves. So, that focus on top line has got to be paramount in every broker's business. So thanks again, Ollie.
No worries. Thank you very much for having me. It's been enjoyable.
Beautiful. All right, this has been another episode of the $1 Billion Broker podcast. If you'd like to stay in touch and see what we do, there's a Facebook group called $1 Billion Broker. It's a private group. Reach out and request to join. Obviously, subscribe to the podcast on whichever channel you listen to. And if you'd like to work with us privately, just reach out, send us a message on one of the social platforms, and we'll get in touch with you and look forward to helping you. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.